this. Perfect. All right, ladies, good morning. Welcome back to the Big Africa Acceleration Program. Oops, I've lost my screen. 1 second. Okay, Kiara, we can jump just to the next one. So it feels like we've been away for weeks, but it's only actually been 2 weeks. We've missed 2. We're glad to have you back to our session today. As you all know already, I'm Danielle Anderson. I'm here to support you throughout our time together. I am a strategy coach and a business advisor. So if you have questions on the side, feel free to also reach out. We are now in our almost end week. We're going to look at the schedule in just a minute, and we'll get started on today's content in just a minute. But before we do, because we haven't seen each other in a little while, I'd love to hear from you. What is one of the things that really is sticking with you from the last session that we had? We had such a powerful coaching session. All of you, well, not all of you, unfortunately, but the majority of you were able to share your stories with us about, you know, your businesses, why you do the work that you do, where you see yourselves going. And this was really the first opportunity that we had to hear a lot of your voices, you know, both on screen and also vocally, because a lot of what we do has been in the chat. So I'd love to hear from you. What's something that stuck with you since the last time that we met, or maybe since the, you know, mentoring sessions that you've had since then? Would love to hear, jump into the chat, let us know, you know, what are some of the things that are still on your mind or, yeah, on your conscience. Christina, could you also translate for me? Like just the, not the whole thing, of course, but just the gist of the question.
Yes, sure. Oui, du coup, ça fait un moment qu'on s'est vu la dernière fois, enfin, il y a 2 semaines. Si vous pourrez partager, s'il vous plaît, qu'est-ce qui est resté avec vous depuis la dernière temps, quand vous avez partagé toutes vos histoires? Est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose de que vous vous souvenez ou qui vous a vraiment marqué? Si vous pouvez partager ça dans le chat ou si vous voulez dire quelques mots.
Thanks, Christina. Yeah, Marlene shares, it helps me to tailor my why. Great. Why we do the work that we do is super important. It's what helps our customers connect to us. It's what helps our potential partners connect to us. And it's also what drives us within our business. So, you know, refining your why and making it really something that's personal to you helps a lot in just keeping you motivated as well. What other things, ladies? What else has stayed with you since our last session? People are being shy today. We need to send caffeine everywhere and wake people up. All right, well, let's continue on. Marlene also mentions about, you know, minding about finances and business, keeping an eye on your money, understanding your numbers. That's also something that's really important for us, especially as women in business, to be able to have a control over what finances look like. Ismahan shares about storytelling. Yeah, the stories that we heard were so powerful. So continue to share in the chat as we go along. We'll read them in the background, but I'd love for us now to move on to today's content so that we give our guest a good number of time to get us through. We are in our final training session. I can't believe that the time has gone just like that. And we just have 2 more sessions after this, 1 coaching session and 1 networking session to close up your time together. But we're in our 6th training. Oops, let's mute everyone. Training session. Mute everyone. Kiara, I don't have host access, but can you mute everybody? There's some feedback. Or Christina.
Yes, should be okay now. I think Yes, okay, the participant muted themselves. So it's fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, so today we're going to be, as I mentioned, doing our final training session. And this is really our last opportunity to have a look at the way that you've crafted your business, the way that you've developed it. So today is going to be about product development and market fit. And our guest trainer today is Doris. I am going to hand over to Doris and give her an opportunity to tell us more about herself and what brings her to us today. But really use this session, ladies, to think about your business for one last time in terms of your business model and to think about how it is that you got to where you are with your product that you're selling. All right, so Doris, over to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay. Do you see it?
Yes, but not in full screen.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now it's going.
It's okay now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank
I want to introduce myself. Good morning. And my name is Doris. I'm working for the Accent Incubator in Austria. Austria is a very small country in the mid of Europe, near Germany. And I have a master's degree in architecture and engineering, and also made an MBA, a Master of Business Administration. And since 2015, I'm working for the Accent Incubator. I want to tell you something about product development, and there are 7 stages, and there's nothing new or a secret, but I think it's your last training, and I think it's a good it's good for rethinking the whole process. First, is the idea generation or ideation, and many aspiring entrepreneurs get stuck on the first stage of ideation and brainstorming, because this is often they are waiting for a stroke of genius to reveal the perfect product. But many of the best ideas are the result of iterating upon an existing product. You can come up with a novel ways to transform existing ideas or even adapt them to a new target group or problem. Using insights from business analysis can also be helpful to better understand the opportunities in the market. And I want to ask you something. How did you come up with the idea for your product or service? Is it possible to have a discussion with the group?
Yeah, so ladies, feel free to unmute yourselves and share a bit more about your businesses. So what Doris is asking is, how did you come up with the idea for your product or service? So where did the idea come from for you?
Yes, that I mean.
So yeah, feel free to unmute yourselves, or you can jump in the chat and let us know there if you prefer. We'll give you a couple of moments to type things out.
Yes, yes.
And Christina has put this into the chat also for our French speakers.
How should I go on? I have several questions to the group.
Oh, so if you can go on, Doris, if you want them just to answer them one by one. We need to give them a little time to type, though. It's a meaty question.
Okay, the next point is the research. Product ideas and their validation ensures you are creating a product people will have pay for. And that you won't waste time, money, and effort on an idea that won't sell. Sharing your idea with your target market on the online forums or so on. Sending out an online survey to get feedback or starting a crowdfunding campaign. Testing market, releasing your idea to a very small group of your target market to get initial feedback. Doing market research using Google Trends or others. Next question I had to the group. What types of research have you been helpful for you? Maybe we can at the end have a discussion about this point.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Third point is planning. Since product development can quickly become complicated, it's important to take the time to plan before you begin to build your prototype. At this stage, it can often be helpful to have a clear product roadmap. Try to use sketches and diagrams to create a list of the different components or materials you will need in order to bring the product to life. The list does not need to be inclusive for all potential components, but it should allow you to begin planning what you will need in order to create the product. Prototyping. The goal of the prototyping phase during the product development is to create a finished product to use as a sample for mass production. It's unlikely you will get to your finished product in a single attempt. Prototyping usually involves experimenting with several versions of your product, slowly eliminating options and making improvements until you will feel satisfied with a final sample. At the end, a minimum viable product called MVP is a standard for testing. Startup release the MVP to early customers, then they run experiments to gauge interest, test price sensitivity and messaging and more. It begins the feedback process to bring ideas and suggestions based on customer needs. But in reality, planning and prototyping are going hand in hand. What is your experience to this point? Point 5, sourcing. Once you have a product prototype you are satisfied with, it's time to start gathering the materials and securing the partners needed for production. This is also referred to as building your supply chain, the vendors, activities, and sources needed to create a product and get it into a customer's hand. During this stage of product development, project management is crucial. While this phase will mainly involve finding manufacturers or suppliers, you may also factor storage, shipping, and warehousing into your choice. Sourcing several options is an important part of safeguarding your business for the long term. I have a question to the group. How does your supply chain work and what challenges do you face? Point 6, costing and financing. After research planning, prototyping, and sourcing is done, you should have a clearer picture of what it will cost to produce your product. Costing is a business analysis process where you take all information gathered thus far and add up what the cost of goods sold, COGS, will be, so you can determine a retail price and gross margin. Once you have your total COGS calculated, you can come up with a pricing strategy for your product and subtract the COGS from the price to get your potential gross margin or profit on each unit sold. my question to the group. What is your pricing strategy for your product or service? Last point, commercialization. At this point, you have got a profitable and successful product ready for the world. Last step in this methodology is to introduce your product to the market. At this point, a product development team will hand the reins over to marketing for a product launch. If you don't have the budget for expensive ads, don't tweak it. You can still run a successful go-to-market strategy by using the following tactics: sending your product launch emails to your subscriber list, working with influencers on an affiliate marketing campaign, enable Instagram shopping, run chat marketing campaigns, go to reviews from early customers. My question to the group: how is or what your market entry plan? At the end of this process, you will have to have an MVP, a minimum viable product, a prototype, a business plan up to 20 or 25 pages with a clear defined USP. This, I think it's the most important thing to have a USP, a pitch deck, 15 slides for a pitch for 15 minutes. And you should be able to communicate effectively. You should find answers. Why should somebody listen to you? What are you working on and how you're doing it? If our startups in Austria have all these things in the first round, we offer them a service design mentoring. And the question was, what is service design? It's a radical customer perspective about the process, about the product, and about the service. Service design is a change of perspective. And service design puts the focus on people. There are several methods. The metrics is to understand, to watch, to define a new view, to find ideas, prototyping and testing. And it's always necessary to iterate all these points. Another view will be the method of selection with the same points, but in reality, both methods are going hand in hand. Service design makes service visible. Service design, it generates innovation. And Henry Ford says, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Please check again who will be or should be your first customers. Also, if you would capture a new market or new customer. Make personas, give your customer a name, a face, their people, and not statistics. Use the power of extremes. What do your customers need? What motivates them? Think from the persona's perspective and how they use your product or service. Collect data from your testing persons. The goal is to understand better your target group. Who is your target customer? Who is she or he doing? What are her or his needs? general question, age, profession, status, or family, or something else. Questions on the topic, buying behavior, needs, personal questions, dreams, problems, questions about interests, hobbies, and others. This is a template we use to create a persona with data and facts, name, age, place of residence, marital of family status, profession, education, income, languages, only in keywords, reference, make a reference from the persona to your own offer or product or service. What are the motives for using your offer? Where are the problems and hurdles with the offer? What needs, questions, goals does the persona have in relation to the offer? Values and opinions. What will the future be like? What is important to the persona? What values and goals does she pursue? Fears, challenges. So, and what kind of sources of information they use with technical devices? What kind of technical devices does she or he use? How does she use them? Who has an influence on her? Friends, consultants, companies, social media, and so on. Make a story, tangible story about your first customer. That we show you some examples. We make great posters for personas, and I think it's good to use it. And maybe, and it's Patrick to the group, may try to make a poster with a story from your first customer. When you are market fit, your product, your service is validated, business modeling, the business model is clear, and also you have a clear pricing strategy. You need a team, because there are many, there are many budgets at the minute to do. You need a CEO, accounting, product development, marketing and sales. Company is to be founded, and one of the most important things is pitching, to raise money and to raise customers. Tell a captivating story, use an ABC for pitching, and for need, what is the big market need, and who is the target customers, and who is the on our market approach. A for approach, solving the problem, the compelling, unique solution, and how you're going to the market. Why is your team going to succeed to solve problem? B for benefits. What are the benefits of your solution and for whom? C for competition. What is the competition? Anything the customers can choose in place of your solution. For market fit, you also will need money. You need an investor. I think it's good to have a strategic investor who will help and support you. I have a question of the group. Is your product or service market fit? What are your challenges? Thank you. I think we could start the discussion.
Great, thank you so much, Doris. So ladies, we've added all of the questions into the chat, both in French and in English.
Okay.
So that they remember what they are, because we did have quite a lot of them there. So ladies, feel free to go through those questions. Let me just read some of them out to you. So the first one was, how did you come up with the idea for your product or service? Some of you have already shared in the chat your response to this. So let me just read some of them out. Doris, so we have, so Okia shares, on seeing the food insecurity in her country, which is Madagascar, through an idea to solve the problem by increasing agricultural production. So their idea came from seeing a direct need on their island. Inez says a need to help artisanal fishing cooperatives. Ismahan has identified a market gap in her country, and she's passionate about starting a business to address that gap. Josephine shares, because she wants an income generating activity that allows her to reconcile her passion for women's entrepreneurship and well-being. Her region is full of fruit that deserves to be exploited. So a lot of you have already answered to that one, but again, feel free to continue sharing in the chat or come on video. So the next question was, what types of research have been really helpful for you? So when you think about the market research that you've done with your clients or conversations that you've had with other people in your industry, and the types of research that Dora shared, what was something that was really useful for you? And then she talked about planning and prototyping. So what has been your experience with planning and prototyping? How does your supply chain work and what challenges do you face? So thinking about, how do you get your inputs into your products and services, and how do you get those out to your customers? What are some things that have worked well? What hasn't worked so well? And then we talked about your pricing strategy in past sessions, but one of the questions here again is, what is your pricing strategy for your product or service? And the final one is, how is or was your market entry planned? So when you're thinking about your access to your customers, what does that look like for you? How do you get in front of them? So these are some things that we would love now to just join in the discussion with. So Doris, I'll hand it back over to you so that you can drive that. But all of these questions are in the chat. So if you want to refer back to them, they are there. Salma asked, no one is speaking just now. So feel free to come on to unmute yourself if you would like to speak. Marlene shares in the chat that their problem is food insecurity in Angola. The resource that has been useful for her clients, analyzing the daily products that are processed without any sanitary conditions. And then she has a motivation to change the status quo. Ismahan says, in planning my business, Som Art Academy and Store, comprehensive market research, customer surveys, competitor analysis, and trends in art education and supplies have provided valuable insights into the preferences and needs of artists and art enthusiasts in Somalia. That's great, Ismahan. That's a great description of.
Yeah. I found a question from Marlene. Okay. can the persona change over the course of business? Yes, it can. It is maybe the first customer is another customer than later on. And I think you have also to rethink your customer strategy. Who is really your customer?
Josephine shares a question in French. Pierre, could you help with translation?
Yes, please.
Yes, of course. Gloria. Please, Christina.
Yeah. Yeah, the question about the pricing strategy. Donc, en français, la question c'est quelle est votre stratégie pour le prix concernant votre produit ou votre service? Comment vous avez développé votre stratégie? On a eu une autre session par rapport à ça, donc peut-être vous pouvez aussi partager votre expérience.
Ouais. And then we had an input from Josephine, who was saying that her problem
is
is
the primary materials. The
price of the fruits.
Sorry, the price of the primary materials. So the fruits, they change all the time. From the supplier of the fruit. So she's obliged to adapt every time.
Okay.
So that's a problem that she faces.
The problem is the supplier.
Yeah, the problem that the supplier of the fruit, so the primary material, changes the price all the time.
All the time.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and then she also expanded that for the price, she classes them into 3 categories. So the first for, quite common products like banana and so on. And I think she continues.
I know Kia also shares that her problem is on packaging.
Yeah.
And that she has to import abroad in China or other countries.
That's the real problem.
Mm-hmm. Ismahan says, my pricing strategy for Academy and store is designed to strike a balance between affordability and value. For our classes, I offer tiered pricing based on factors such as class duration, skill level, and instructor expertise. And for store, I ensure competitive pricing for high quality materials while offering occasional discounts and promotions for track customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, Ismahan, and just continue to see, how are your customers responding to the different pricing, the different things that you're offering? Do you see that some sell more than others? That's great. Asna says, being in the factory to produce and at the same time being able to study the marketing position is so difficult.
Yes, yeah. This is the problem of a team. because you really need a team to can do all the tasks. And I have a question to the group. Do you have a team or is this one woman entrepreneurs? How the situation for the female?
Yeah, so Asna asked, how do we do when finance does not allow us to have a team? So I think, you know, to answer your question, Doris, a number of them are in small teams, or a few of them are also working at the moment kind of independently, or at least feel like they need to have continuous oversight over the people that are probably working with them. So yeah, there's this question from Asna, how do we build a team when money doesn't allow it?
Yes, you have to invite family and friends. Yeah, that's the reality. We are facing the same problem in Europe.
Yeah, I think Asna, also another thing that you can consider is, you know, how much would a team cost you? So if you think about, like, at a bare minimum, what would be the most important hire that you could make, and how much would that hire cost you?
Yeah.
And then, you know, what are the benefits of then having that hire? Does that mean that you can then produce more and therefore earn more? So if you kind of sit with the numbers a little bit to figure out, like, how much would it cost you to get that person, and then you can work towards it. So every business, when you're getting started, you won't have finance, and there will even be periods throughout your business where finances might dip low because the economy is poor. So if you're always thinking about how much would it cost me to get that team member in, and working towards that number, I think that's a good starting point.
Yes.
I don't know if it could be a good suggestion, but maybe if one of you would like to, you know, go through the different questions. So really, if we could try to go through the journey introduced by Doris, so we could look at a case and see indeed how was your journey, and see if we can think of some suggestions or inputs or inspiration for our own businesses.
Yeah.
So this could be maybe a good way to see how what Doris shared with us apply to our daily businesses. And as she was saying, I think the idea of today is to really not understand, but to realize really that this is not an exercise we done just once and then it stays, but it's a process. It's a lean approach that really allow our businesses to grow, to adapt to new markets, but also current markets and customers that also change due to social, political, economic changes in our societies, for example. And I know some of you are facing this actually. So maybe this could be a good way of going through what Doris shared with us.
Yes, I think it's the same process in several ways, because you're in the first round you're focused on the all. In the second round you are faced to the customer, and the third round you are faced to the investors or money, or to raise money for the production, and you have focused in several rounds as a special yeah, in a special way. And we make the experience where we are working with scientists and with technical persons, and they are very they are very perfectionism to the prototyping, but they have no clue about the customers and about marketing and sales.
So ladies, which one of you might like to jump off mute and go through the process with Doris? You know, share what your journey has been like. You can go through one question at a time. I know a lot of you are also mentioning some things in the chat, so let me read out what's here. So it says, one of the strategies I used to enter the market was the price we have, a price much lower than competitors, which
Yeah.
Marlene says penetration pricing. And yeah, that can sometimes be a go-to market strategy that you choose to use. And then you might need to review your pricing later, but it really depends on the type of product that you're selling. Yeah, see, now you're saying the low price is causing you problems with finance. And so you have problems with the month of July. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. It is a difficult part. You really need to make sure that even if you're pricing lower than your competitors, that you're still pricing in a way that's covering your costs, right? You can't allow yourself to go so low that you don't then have the resources to continue to pay to run your business. So really you have to be careful with going too low on your pricing. Ismahan says, one of the challenges we face supply chain is the availability of certain specialized art supplies in the local market. This sometimes necessitates importing items, which can lead to longer lead times and potential import related delays.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing, ladies. This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great in that it's a challenge, of
The
course.
low price in the beginning is really a problem because you cannot get a better price later on.
Yeah. Yeah, that can also certainly be a risk, right? Then when you start too low, like your customers get used to you being with a low price. So how do you then encourage them to pay more at a later date? So it's a strategy that you really need to think about. You know, Inez, thanks for sharing that. I think that I would maybe even recommend that you speak a little bit more to your mentor about that particular issue to see how you might start to be able to raise your prices and cover also your expenses.
Yeah.
You're welcome. What else, ladies? Keep sharing. And like I said, if you want to get off mute and talk through anything, we're happy to do that today too.
I read from Ismahan, one of the challenges we face supply chain is the availability of certain specialized art supplies in the local market. We sometimes necessitate importing items which can lead to longer lead times and potential import really delays. Yes, that's really a problem. Yeah. And my question is how especially to Ismahan, how you will solve your problem?
Ladies are feeling a little bit shy now, huh? No one wants to come off mute?
Do any of them have investors?
Yeah, a couple of them have received
Okay,
investment in some different ways.
okay.
Marlene shares that she has a bank loan. Yeah, that's definitely a form of technically an investor. You had money input from somewhere.
It's, yeah, okay.
And Marlene, as you think about pricing, because you shared also about penetration pricing earlier, when you think about pricing for your business, you also need to consider that bank loan, right? That's going to be a monthly payment that you're responsible for. And you need to ensure that you're selling enough to also cover that payment. So I would bring that into your pricing conversation also.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a struggle.
Yeah. Yes. A bank loan is the most expensive version. Because most of our startups, they are dealing with shares of their company, also with part of the team, that they can fill on the team, and then they have contracts with part of the teams that they get shares later on.
So Ismahan shares, mostly I established proactive communication and relationships with global suppliers for consistent material flow. Collaborating with local artisans aims to create domestic alternatives, decreasing reliance on imports.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ismahan, that's perfect. You've shared quite a lot about your business in today's chat, and I think that the way that you're going about it so far is one, very professional, and two, very, very smart. I think you're making the right sorts of relationships, like you say, you're proactive in your communication and relationships with suppliers because you know that you're so reliant on them. So the more that you can build strong partnerships with your suppliers in some ways, the better for you, because it just allows you to have that consistency in your business. And then of course, collaborating with local artisans is the aim, right? You don't want to necessarily be paying foreign importers. You want to be able to keep money in Somalia and support the community around you. So that's the added benefit of your business. I think you're thinking about it exactly the right way.
Yeah. Yes, the future is cooperation and collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all your local suppliers and local friends, family, and so on.
What else do you ladies want to share with us about your product development cycle? So thinking about, how did your idea come to be? What research did you do for it? You can also share challenges that you're having with parts of the process.
Yeah, and I think it's also to think about it, about the whole story, from the idea for your pitch, for the storytelling. It's really very important.
Yeah, that's a great point, Doris. And ladies, the next coaching session that we have in a couple weeks' time, when we resume in September, is going to be about that pitch. We did the storytelling session the last time we were together, and you really started to incorporate how you talk about your businesses, but thinking about the journey that your business has gone through from ideation to where it stands now is going to be a very useful part of the pitching session that we do in September. So yeah, Doris, that's a great reminder for them.
Okay, because it's also very important to know the audience. It's another pitch to pitch in front of investors as to customers. And you have,
absolutely.
You have to do several pitch decks. You have the 1 minute to do the 1 minute pitch for communications, and you have to do a 15-minute pitch for customers and for 25 minutes for investors, and this is a difference.
Absolutely. So, the message that Doris is really sharing there is to think about who is the audience that you're pitching to, and also how much time do you have available, because your message, although it will still be underlying the same, you'll have to highlight certain points. So we'll definitely be talking about that more during our coaching session in September. Marlene also says, I realize that our product size are bigger compared with the market standard, and this is making a problem in the pricing. Yeah. We are redefining the packaging as the standards, and then we'll keep the price as it is. I think that's perfect, Marlene, and it's great that you have that recognition that, your customer is just used to paying a particular price. They don't necessarily recognize that the package is slightly bigger, right? So it's great that you're redefining your packaging so that it matches.
Yes, it's a good solution. Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yes.
How long will it take, Marlene, before you're in your new packaging and then out to market again? 3 months. Okay. So I think in those 3 months to really make sure that you're doing okay is I guess just educating your customer that they're getting more for their money, that they're not getting a smaller amount for a more expensive price, because 3 months you still have to make sales. Asna has a question, Doris. It's how will I value the emotions of my persona?
What I value is
evaluate. Sorry, how will I evaluate the emotions of my persona?
In your value chain of your product, because you know the canvas, and you have your value proposition, and there you can put it. You have the persona and the emotions, and you can maybe you can transform it into your product. The customer will have gains and pains, and to find out what are the gains and what is pains, and you can fill in your value proposition of your product.
Yeah, that's great advice. Asna, I also think that when you're trying to understand what their emotions are, like you can listen to the language that they're using, you can listen to how they talk about their challenges, and that's how you get to understand what their emotions are. Like some customers will feel a fear, and that's why they do something. Some customers will feel a desire, and that's what makes them do something. So it's really about thinking about what might your customer be feeling that drives them to make a purchase.
Yes, and you have to find out what is the willingness to pay.
Yeah, and their willingness to pay.
And to use your offer and your product.
Okay, ladies, we're getting a lot of messages in the WhatsApp group that there is a lot of people that are having network challenges and also unable, like jumping in and out of the chat. So I think that we'll give any last questions to Doris as an opportunity just to kind of end early today. I see a lot of people are really struggling with their internet connections. So let us know, are there any last questions that we can pose to Doris on this topic that we've covered today, whether it's the persona template or the product development cycle?
Yes, I think maybe if there a question, they can send me an email.
Yeah, definitely. Doris, you have a slide with your email address on it, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, ladies, if there's anything that you think of, I know that a lot of you are struggling with the network. So if there's anything that you think of in relation to product development or the product market fit and the customer persona map, I encourage you all to send Doris an email. We also think it would be a great idea for you to work on that persona, map of your customer. That's something that you can definitely be doing with your mentor. Marlene says she can't see the email, so let me see. Doris, can we pop it into the chat, or Kiara perhaps? Great. Perfect. So it's now inside the chat. So yeah, feel free to write Doris an email if you have further questions or you want to talk about this topic further. You're welcome, Marlene. All right, great. So Kiara, so Doris, thank you so much for contributing to our conversation today and bringing the ladies through this really important topic. Kiara, I think we'll take over the slides.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Doris, you had 2 more to show. Apologies.
Okay.
So screen, I'm sharing the screen now.
Okay, perfect. So this is you, Kiara. Great.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. So as we mentioned earlier, we have just 2 last sessions together. The next one is going to be on Tuesday, the 5th of September. So we have a few weeks off to give our European friends their time on holiday that they like to take during the month of August while we all freeze here in the Southern Hemisphere. But we have one last coaching session taking place on the 5th of September on pitching and public speaking. So as we talked about earlier, today, like this is going to be something that's super important for you guys as you start to go out there and talk about your businesses more. And then don't forget that the session recordings and PowerPoints are all on that Google Drive. Kiara would love it if you fill in the feedback form on today's session. So the link is there and it's the same one that's there every time that we also share with you in the WhatsApp group. And then just a reminder that this is really your last month with your mentor. So I know we talk about it all the time and I remind you every single week, but it's really an important relationship that you have access to over the next month. And this is someone who wants to give you their time and give you their knowledge and give you their information and give you an opportunity to, use them as a resource, which all of your businesses need in some capacity. So really meet with that person as much as you possibly can within the time limit that you're given and their availability, and take advantage of that resource. But also don't take advantage of that resource in a negative way. If you have set up a meeting with your mentor, please keep to that meeting. That person is giving their time, they're giving their effort and their energy, and they're also preparing for those meetings. So don't cancel on them at the last minute. If something comes up, we understand that things happen, but be considerate and really try to inform them as soon in advance as possible. And if you know that you can't meet, then don't set up time with them. It's just be polite. So yeah, take advantage of your mentor and the resource that they're providing to you, but don't take advantage of them in a disrespectful way. All right. So finally, what we would also love for our next coaching session is, because we're going to be focusing on pitching and public speaking, we would love for a couple of you to volunteer to do a mock pitch during that session. It's going to be a 3-minute pitch, no more than 10 slides. We're only going to take a few of you just to give you an example of how to pitch, but also to give you feedback on what you can improve. So if you're interested, please email Kiara and let her know so that we can liaise with you further and tell you what's required for that conversation, for that pitch. and get your PowerPoints and things in order. So let us know if you're interested. It's really an opportunity, even if you're shy, it's really an opportunity for you to get that practice, to get that live feedback from our coaches and from me, and to really make it even better. So I know that you might be a little bit shy, but use the opportunity. All right. So that is all from me. Marlene also says that she is interested. So Kiara, definitely put Marlene down, and anyone else that's interested, please drop Kiara an email. And so we will see you all again in a few weeks' time on Tuesday, the 5th of September. Yeah, so great. We're getting feedback. Josephine is in contact with her mentor, and please, Marlene is also, yeah, Ismahan, you're welcome. Is it possible to do that in French too? Oh, sorry, it is possible to do that in French too. Yes, ladies, if you want to pitch and you're a French speaker, please, you can do it in French as well. We welcome that. Asna says, me. Okay, Asna, got you.
Okay, but use the pitching and public speaking. Use the stage, enjoy the stage, because nobody can interrupt you.
Yeah, true. And it's a safe space, ladies. It's always been a safe space for you. So definitely use it as an opportunity to do that. So we have the first volunteers. That's awesome. So ladies, we will miss you. We wish our European colleagues an amazing final few weeks on holiday as they're enjoying the heat and the sunshine and the cocktails by the seaside. We'll see you all again in a few weeks on the 5th of September. All right. Thank you so much for your time today. Doris, thank you again, and see you all soon.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day.